Welcome back to study section 2 on FTP 301, arable crop production techniques. In our previous section, we talked about the planting operation. In this section, we'll be looking at the planting and post-planting operation as part of the cultural practices in arable crop production technique. So, planting operations has to do with the activities that are done during the planting process. And when we are talking of the post-planting operation, these are the activities that are carried out after the planting process. So in this section, we'll be looking at the various ways by which we apply fertilizer to our, our crops. These are part of the activities done during the planting process. Then we'll look at weed, pest, and disease management. We'll also look at the calibration of sprayers. Then we'll also be looking at harvesting and other various activities after harvesting. But what are fertilizer application? Fertilizer application is an important component of the agricultural practices, and it has to do with the organic manure or the mineral fertilizer. And fertilizer are applied by different methods, mainly for three different purposes. We have one, to make the nutrients easily available to crops at a particular point in time. It will also help to reduce fertilizer losses and also for easy application. The time and method of fertilizer application vary in relation to one, the nature of the fertilizer that you are applying, the soil type, then with the difference in the nutrient requirements and the nature of the feed crops. We have different methods of fertilizer applications. We have one, application of fertilizer in solid form. We have the broadcasting method, the placement method. When you're talking of the broadcasting method, it involves even and uniform spreading of the manure or the fertilizer that you are applying by hand over the entire surface of the field. And we have for broadcasting method, we have the broadcasting at the plants or the basal application as well as top dressing. Then for the placement, it refers to the placement of fertilizers in soil at a specific place. When we are talking of the placement method of fertilizer application, we have the plow soil placement, we have the deep placement, we have the localized placement, the pellet placement, the band and contact placement, as well as the side dressing placement. The other method has to do with the application of fertilizers in liquid form, and this includes the foliar application as well as the starter solution. The foliar application has to do with the spraying of fertilizer solutions containing one or more nutrients on the foliage of the growing plants. Then the second one, which is starter solution, has to do with the application of fertilizer solution to young plants at the time of transplanting the plant to the planting bed. Then other methods has to do with the application through irrigation water. It refers to the application of water-soluble fertilizers through irrigation. Then the fourth method is the injection into the soil. The liquid fertilizers for injection into the soil may be of either pressure or the non-pressure types. Then the next thing that we'll be looking at in this section is the weed pest disease management. The weed control in weed management aims at only putting down the weeds present by some kinds of physical or chemical methods of weed management. And when you're talking of weed management on its own, weed management is a systematic approach whereby the whole land use planning is done in advance to minimize the invasion of weeds in an aggressive form. We do this to reduce the invasion of weeds in an aggressive form on the farm. So weed control methods are grouped into, we have the cultural method, we have the physical method, the chemical method, the biological, and then the integrated weed management. Those are the weed control methods that we have: the cultural, the physical, the chemical, biological, and integrated weed management system, which combines either of the two of these weed control methods. Then the next one is the calibration of sprayer. And when we are talking of calibration, it is the process of adjusting sprayer components in order to deliver the desired volume per area when applying the chemical product to the farm. And the aim of calibration is to apply the correct spray mix to a given area of crop or land in liters or at the required amount that is needed for the farm at a particular point in time. Why do we need to calibrate our sprayers? We do this to ensure that the correct volume is being delivered per unit area of land. And the second one is that it helps to ensure that the mixture of water and active ingredients is done correctly. Then so having calibrate the sprayer as well, at times what are the reasons why we fail to calibrate our sprayers? What will be the consequence of we not calibrating our sprayers? We have one, when too much chemical is applied, it will lead to waste. So, and it will lead to environmental problems at a particular point in time. So, the second one is when little chemical is applied, this indicates that the pest or weed may not be controlled properly. So the last thing that we'll be looking at in this section is the harvesting and post-harvest operation. We've looked at the weed and disease management. We've also looked at the fertilizer application as well as the calibration of sprayers. So the last part that we'll be looking at is the harvesting and post-harvest operation. Harvesting and post-harvest operation has to do with the harvesting, the drying, threshing, grading, sorting, and cleaning. And when you're talking of harvesting, it is an act of collecting or gathering matured produce on the farm. After harvesting, we have drying. It is an effective method of preserving the quality of the grain that you've harvested. Then we have threshing. It is the process of separating the grain from the portion of the plant that holds them. So after threshing, we have the grading, which has to do with the classification of clean products into their quality fractions in order to enhance the commercial value of such particular produce. Then we have sorting. Sorting refers to the separation of clean products into various quality fractions. And this could be on the basis of color, the size, as well as the shape of the harvested product. Then the last part is the cleaning. It has to do with the removal of the foreign and undesirable material from the produce that you've harvested from the farm. Thanks. We've come to the end of this section. See you in the next class.